Okay, there we go. Hey, Erin.
Hey.
Man, thanks for meeting with me. So this is my little podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And for everybody kind of out there, Erin and I go back to Avenues.
Yep.
I was there before you.
You were?
I remember you walking in.
Yeah.
You were kind of sexy.
I wouldn't have thought that then, but
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. That was an odd makeup of people.
It was. It was.
Um,
We were all there though, kind of all different walks of life, but definitely the same ism. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so you came straight there, like you didn't go anywhere else in there.
Right. So I came in the day after Mardi Gras, 2022.
Gotcha.
So
That's appropriate.
yeah. So I wanted to do Mardi Gras. So when I came in there, I definitely was on 10.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
100%. But yeah, I drove myself straight there that
Right.
morning.
So you didn't go to Marguerite and New Orleans East in there?
Mm-mm.
Because if you remember, that spot was brand new.
I do.
The plumbing was going out.
Yep.
I think more on y'all side than our side.
Yeah. Some showers didn't work. Ours fortunately did in our
Yeah.
room, but
Yeah.
a lot of the girls would have to come and use our showers.
Yeah. It's a pretty tight little group. I still talk to those folks,
Yeah.
like Teresa and Will, especially Jamal,
Yep.
which of course you know, right? But I remember David was, by the way, Erin's married to a guy named David.
Amazing man.
Yeah. And so you met, I don't want to ask that question right now.
Okay.
I want to ask, I don't remember him being in Avenues.
He wasn't. So David actually first tried sobriety in 2019. Way before me.
Yeah.
And he had went to Avenues in Metairie.
Yeah.
Actually was kicked out of Avenues in Metairie, and they took him straight from there to Townsend, which then was in the east. And he finished Townsend and stayed sober for 7 months,
Right.
and still way before I met him. And then he relapsed and stayed relapsed for 2 years. I met him during his relapse. I was obviously in addiction and using. He was as well. So we were in addiction together for almost 2 years prior to getting sober.
God, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so we made it through the worst, and
That's crazy.
miraculously we made it
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
Well, so that's before Avenues?
Yes.
When we met? So you knew David
Yes.
before you got at Avenues?
Yeah, 2 years.
Right,
Mhm.
right. So you're, if I remember correctly, where are you from? Virginia or?
North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Yeah.
Close, Cologne, really. you
Yeah.
know? Right, yeah. North Carolina.
Yes.
And you got in some trouble up there. And
Yes.
Yeah, so what was that? How old were you when that all started?
I would say that I started getting in trouble. I was great in school. I actually had a wonderful childhood.
Yeah.
But I would say I started acting out after my brother passed,
Yeah.
and I was 12 then. Just little things, you know, smoking and trying to drink every now and again. Nothing major. I still lived with my mom at the time. Later on, I started skipping school when I was 15, 16. Got pregnant and quit school. I signed my rights over to my son, and I
Right.
went.
Right.
It was off to the races.
Right.
And so I was in and out of jail for numerous things, small, misdemeanor, petty things, mostly paraphernalia, things like that. And then I got put on probation in 2015. And I actually ran for 4 years for a 45-day suspended sentence.
Right.
I ran.
Right.
And then when I finally went to jail, I did 17 days, and I came to New Orleans.
Right.
And so that's when I was still
Right.
fresh. Yeah.
So 2 questions about that. I lost my dad when I was young. I was 15. My dad passed away suddenly. And then like my grandma, right? His mom died, then my dad died, then my grandfather died. And my mom was, you know, I like to say my mom's like not like me, alcoholic, but my
Right.
mom like bending the elbow.
Right.
And I remember as a kid that was just a problem with me. It used to make me very uncomfortable, and I hated her
Yeah.
about it. And after my dad died, I really didn't know I'm getting to death, right? So it was a weird moment because I didn't know whether, because you know when stuff like that happens to you, you can say, well, I can go this way, and everybody's going to say, oh, poor Erin, poor Manny.
Mm-hmm.
They just had a bad break,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or if you go the other direction, it's sort of like, look what Manny did, right? You know, but there's so much pressure to go in the other direction as well, right?
It's crossroads, man.
You know, because it's just as hard to do that, and because it's kind of a big light shining on you,
Mm-hmm.
and then you don't know how to manage that light, right?
True.
And if you've got the disease of addiction, or if you've got anything in your body that's broken and trauma and so forth, I think that shadow or that monster is going to get you anyway.
It does.
At some point, right? So, your baby,
Yeah.
ever talk, see, or
100%.
Yeah.
I'm, because of this program and my higher power, I'm able to be a mother, a good mother.
Yeah.
He's 19. He lives in Arkansas. He has his first own place. He works tree work.
Mhm.
He is not one of us.
Right.
He did have a little bit of a spell, and his older cousin introduced him to meth.
Yeah.
He also drank, but like when he was 17, 18, he drank, and that's he was drunk, and that's when he was like, okay, I'll try that.
Yeah.
And he realized very quickly that was a problem, unlike me.
Right.
And he actually came to sober up and live with me and David in New Orleans, and for a little while, and we took him to AA.
Yeah.
And I baptized him at church.
Wow.
And
Gosh.
and that's all that it took.
Right.
He's definitely not one of us.
So when do you we're both in 12-step.
Yeah.
I know we're jumping around a little bit, but that's okay. That's kind of, we have an alcoholic and drug brains, right?
We do.
We get the excuse. I hit my mirror on your mailbox coming in. I didn't have, right.
It's all right. Is your mirror okay?
Yeah. So his mailbox. I just snorted on video. And,
I'm here.
yeah, it would be the first time I snorted on video.
Right.
And I was like, man, you're such an alcoholic. I was
His
like,
mailbox is sober.
Did anybody see me? Erin,
I think I cut this off. I think it come back on.
Okay. Yeah, we're okay.
Okay, good.
I'm actually,
It made noise.
yeah. What is it saying? Hang on once. I can edit all this, so don't worry.
Okay.
I don't know. Let's just keep going.
Okay.
Okay. Hit the mailbox. Alcoholic. Yes. Higher power. So, you weren't that way when I met you, were you?
No,
Right.
100%.
Right.
Yeah.
How'd that happen? Like,
So,
yeah, man, go for it. Yeah.
okay, so higher power. So for me, it's funny because I wasn't raised in religion.
Mhm.
My husband was. He was raised Catholic. He went to elementary Catholic, St. Edward's, and then to Rummel, and but we both now are non-denominational. Cut this down, sorry.
Sure.
And so for me, how this happened is it started out with fully surrendering, right? In the steps, it talks about, realizing that your higher power can restore you to sanity, and, the surrendering and all of these things. And for me, I think I started out with AA as my higher power.
As well. Catholic. Catholic. It's difficult to drop the rock on the God thing
I
sometimes.
100% believe that. I obviously believe that there was something, but I never would call it God or pray to God throughout my childhood and my life. I started out in alcohol and drugs very young, so I really don't think I had the capacity to even try and comprehend a higher power.
Right.
And so once I got into AA, it took me by surprise how quickly it transferred from AA as my higher power to maybe something like God, and now 100% I'm a follower of Jesus Christ, and God is everything, and He's all or nothing, right? And I feel like that when I was baptized, which was 2 months into recovery.
Yeah.
And
Second go round?
it was my second go round. Wait, in recovery?
Yeah.
Well, yes.
Okay.
Yes. Because I relapsed the day I left Avenues,
Yeah.
and then
Congrats on that, by the way.
yeah, and then 3 months I stayed out, and then I went to IOP, and it saved my life.
Right.
Yeah, and it had a lot to do with ultimatums. It was probably the best ultimatum I was ever given in my life by my husband. At that time, not my husband, and he was doing it. You know, he was doing the sober thing.
Yeah.
And I saw that he could do it, and that how happy and healthy and just at peace he was, and I wanted that.
Yeah.
I wanted a little bit of that.
Yeah, it's I'm like we just shared before we got on here, right?
Right.
It's happening to me. And I think this is like the best thing I've ever done. Right?
Oh, this 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Oh no, the sober thing for sure.
Oh, the sober thing. Yeah.
But this as well. Like,
Yeah.
I talked to my sponsor a lot about it, and I try to keep the lines pretty defined between AA and this podcast. And,
of course.
Because people I speak with, they have their own program, and I think we chatted about that the other
100%.
day, right?
Yeah.
But the more. It's sort of like you. I had an ultimatum. My ultimatum is I don't want to start over again.
Yeah.
I'm getting too old, and I get good things are happening. Like I went and saw my sons this weekend, and
amazing.
that was right.
Yeah.
And it's crazy how kids are, right? So this is my youngest one. I won't mention any names.
Right.
This is my youngest one, and my closest one.
Yeah.
And I think my addiction, and because we spent a lot of time together, and she came to live with me in South Carolina when her mom and I split up. I stayed in South Carolina, and Bailey came back to live with me as a sophomore.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal for a girl to leave her mom.
It is, especially as a teenager.
And to come live with their dad on the beach. I was not ready. I totally failed. But there's forgiveness, right?
Of course.
Try.
Yeah. I know.
So, we had coffee of recent since I got out of. So she didn't know I went into rehab the second time. I snuck a camera in, and my phone didn't let me use it. And my friend and I did this initial takeoff, which you're not supposed to do because of the rules, right? Yeah. And she saw that because my sister posted it, and so that's how we got back together.
God moment.
Her mention to me, and maybe you have people like this in your life, like we feel like we got to go say, God, I'm so sorry. Like, it's this active role where you got it. And I don't know, that's just more like me wanting to be me, and it's all about being a narcissist and all in my head. I want to steal this show and say, I'm sorry, Erin. And I'm like, and you're going to, right? You're going to say, sorry. It's okay, man. No, right? It took, right? And she took that off the table. It's like, that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Over. Yet, in sponsoring people, how do you manage that with people when they're trying to get to that step? It's
you
tough,
mean the
right?
amends?
Yeah.
So it is tough. A lot of people, well, in my experience, including myself, a lot of people were more worried about step 4. Step 4 is so big, but really it's not.
Yeah.
If you are vigorously honest,
Yeah, you're
the hard step is amends.
Oh yeah.
That's the hard step. So with me, how my sponsor taught me, and my sponsor lineage, you don't say you're sorry, because actions speak louder than words. They've heard I'm sorry
Forever.
a million times, and so in their mind they're like, but are you?
Here we go again.
Here we go again.
Right.
So for me, when I talk to my sponsees and we get to that step, I'm just like, look, the biggest part of this whole process is when you wrote down your resentments and the people, places, or things, the biggest focus on that was what part you played in this.
Yeah.
And all you can do is, the biggest amends for me, and the easiest one and the best one that I'm in love with, is the living amends.
Right. As well.
I'm going to show you
Right.
that I have changed.
Right.
I'm going to show you that person is no longer me. That
Right.
I will no longer manipulate, be transactional, not be transparent, be self-absorbed. I'm going to live by what I'm telling you.
Right.
And I know what part I played, and I'm cleaning my part of the street.
You know, so when you're walking that and you're doing that, is there somebody that you're showing that to more than just everybody around you? Is there somebody in your life, like your mom?
100%.
Right.
This program has absolutely made me be a better wife,
Right.
a better mother,
Right.
a better daughter.
Right.
So for my immediate persons,
Right.
I 100% give everything that I can.
Right.
And the biggest person is myself, to show myself that this is truly who I am now, and that I am not only a person who claims to be reborn, and a person who claims to be renewed, and a person who claims to be reconciled, but I walk it. I try and take a step back and respond, not react, and also think about, I know it's cliche, but what would Jesus do? But I try and think about what makes me, I'm not just a Christian. I don't just claim to be a Christian. I want to live like a Christian. And I fall short, I'm human.
Yeah.
But I fall short a lot less than I would think I would.
Yeah, it's sort of look up, look down minute, right?
Absolutely.
Right. And I think the falling short now is great word, transactional, right? That's very surface, and it can be a very like 100 miles wide and 2 inches maybe thick, right?
Absolutely.
But the sense of transactional meaning that you know what to do.
Yeah.
Like when you fall short,
Yes.
right? There's a tool.
Absolutely.
Right? And it's not so antiseptic as being transactional, but it's sort of kind of like, no, I know what to do now.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop, pause, take a minute, and I'm just going to think about what's the next right thing to do.
100%.
Because that kind of makes it just you so much more inside yourself.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And more self-aware.
Of course. Right. I've never sponsored anybody. I think it's kind of odd, right? So, and I know I'm being a coward, but I think this is sort of a sponsorship in a way. But I think that's just me being a little scared as well.
Yeah.
And
Based out of fear.
Yeah, and I got a lot of work to do. Like, I'm not afraid to do this, but I'm kind of afraid.
It's scary. You don't want to kill anybody. I used to have the same fear.
Like last moment, right?
Right.
How many people have you sponsored now, and when was the first one?
Okay, so I was on fire. My sponsor, my first sponsor, I have a different sponsor now.
As well.
My first sponsor took me through this, but they're the same lineage. They both had the same sponsor.
Me too, yeah.
So my first sponsor took me through the steps very quickly because I was on fire for it, which I'm so grateful for. So I was done with my step work for the first time, probably 6 months in.
Right.
And, at that time, she says, you start raising your hand at meetings when they say, is anyone willing to be a sponsor? And it took me a little while, it didn't right out the gate me get a sponsee, but now I've worked the steps, several times, and I would say I've had probably 15 sponsees.
What?
I'm almost at 3
Gosh.
years. Yeah. And June 24th will be 3 years sober. So probably 15 sponsees, and only a handful has made it through. And
how does that affect you when they fail?
In the beginning, it made me think that I was doing something wrong.
Right.
Was I not intense enough? Was I not expressing the reading in between the lines enough? Was I not reading in between the lines as we're reading the book? And so, it's like anything else. It's like riding a bike. With practice, you get more experienced. Right. And now I know that I can't control anyone and what they do or what they get out of this or what they don't get out of it. All I can do is pass on the knowledge that was so freely given to me.
Right.
And be there for support. And that's where the line ends,
Yeah.
That's where the boundary is set. Boundaries are very healthy.
Yeah, so it's 12 steps. And inside of those 12 steps, as you move through these various sponsees, are they changing the way you walk them through them? Like, does sponsee 14 sound like sponsee 2?
No.
Okay.
No, not at all.
Right.
So, I also have come to the decision that if just, and I hate to make it sound like this, but if you know, you can go speak TNC at a rehab, right? I work at a rehab, so you know, I know the routine. You can come and speak at a rehab and share your experience, strength, and hope, and give 15 girls your number, 15 women your number. Maybe 2 of them will call you, and then maybe 1 will end up reaching out when they get out. You know, that's how it is. So in the beginning, I gave out my number like crazy. You know, call me. And over time, I've realized I have to set a boundary of how many sponsees I have, like total, because it's not fair to them or me to spread myself so thin,
right?
Because they're not getting what they deserve out of the relationship, and I'm not being able to give them what they need to get this thing. So now I'm very scarce with who I say yes, I will sponsor you. I may say yes, but I have a process. You have to call me for 2 to 3 weeks solid every day to show that you're just as committed to this thing as I am committed to you to help you get through it. Yeah. I have these things because they will weed themselves out.
Right.
And so the ones that last are the ones that I have great hope for.
What I think as part of me being a tad bit of a coward is when some of the ones failed, how did it affect you in regard to your sobriety? Did it make you stronger, or did it make you question?
So,
is that even a fair question?
It is a fair question.
Right.
I very early on learned that no one can affect my sobriety but myself.
Right.
Nothing or no one can.
Right.
And that was only able through me being fully surrendered to God. Right. Before that, I was worried that anything could make me relapse. Anything could,
It's terrible.
It's I was full of fear.
Yeah.
Full of fear.
Right.
And very early on, at 4 months, is when my sister Leslie passed. That's when I realized that not only the obsession had been lifted, the thought of it had been lifted, and that now I know what my higher power is, right, what I call it, and that I was ready to surrender.
Right. Yeah, I look around here, and Erin has a really pretty house, she and David, and all you pictures, right?
Yeah.
It's like...
We love it.
Mm.
Yeah, it's one of the
sobriety,
things.
Right?
Right.
It's sobriety. Like, where's sobriety? Right there.
Yeah.
At that door.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, I made some notes.
Okay.
I wanted to ask you a couple of things. So you both sponsor people.
We do.
And, a disease sometimes causes us to isolate.
It does.
Right. So I want to talk about those things.
Okay. Let's do it.
So you both have sponsees.
Mm-hmm.
You both are committing that time in. Does that ever, how do y'all manage that if things are rough with a sponsee, or just in general, y'all lean on each other? Is it a quiet moment?
That's a wonderful question. So we learned, I feel like how we have successfully gotten this thing so far is because, number one, we put God first. And as long as we're leaning on Him, we can have our separate journeys in recovery, but it means so much more to be able to lean on one another and us both know the ins and out of what we're dealing with, right, the hardships and the good times. Right. It's so easy to ask Him for His advice on these situations and vice versa. But the cool thing is, it's very confidential with me and my sponsees, and very confidential with him and his sponsees. And so we just can ask for advice or just lean on each other for that.
Yeah.
Here he comes right now.
Yeah. Here comes the man right now.
Here he comes right now.
Hey,
Come say hey.
David's here. talking about you.
How's
buddy.
it going?
Yeah, good. Just say hello, Amir.
Say hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hey. We're talking about sponsors and sponsees right now.
Awesome. Well, y'all keep
Yeah.
doing y'all's thing. I gotta go to job number 2.
Okay,
All right,
buddy.
love you. So yeah.
Yeah.
So that's definitely how it works. We have our separate journeys in recovery, but it's so nice to be able to lean on one another.
Because y'all both in sobriety and both been through this path, is it easy to call bullshit on each other if?
Oh, we absolutely will hold each other accountable. 100%. He does not co-sign on my bullshit.
Right. Yeah. I watched a couple this morning that, in fact, gosh, their name is here, but they're both in Hollywood people. Katie Seagal and her husband, Ken Sutter. I think
Yes.
Ken Sutter. And I was watching them, and I wanted to watch that because I knew I was going to be chatting with you, and I knew, of course, David and so forth. So there's a lot of couple power there, right?
It is.
And one of the things came up was about like isolation. So what happens? Like, do y'all give each other that space if you just need a time out for a sec?
100%.
Right.
100%. So we have, we are best friends, and we spend happily all our time together.
Yeah.
But every Saturday after the meetings, he goes, and just the guys goes to the cigar lounge.
Right.
And that also secretively is my time. I get to watch my murder shows. Just things like that. When we need, to step away, we take that time, and we both understand completely that it's to better our relationship or whatever we're dealing with. But more times than not, we lean on each other instead of lean out.
Yeah. So what's David's family like?
They're amazing.
Yeah.
I'm very close with his family.
Yeah.
Me and his mom are like best friends.
Right.
I genuinely love her with all my heart. His dad and I, we're two peas in a pod.
Right.
We're very close. They have accepted me as one of their own. I am very much their daughter.
Right.
So.
Right. Guilt is a big part of this deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I find for me, no matter how much I try to do to move forward, there's a part of me that still says, you're just not good enough, man. Something's gonna, right?
Right.
How do you deal with that? When
I
because we
had
both
those,
came in, so I wanted to bring this and show you, right?
Yeah.
This is not my finest moment. That's me going into avenues.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So that guy creeps up on me sometimes and says, haircut, whatever, bro, you still me.
Yeah.
Right? How do you,
100.
not pretty folks, so how do you get away from that?
So as time goes on,
Because I asked you if there were some things we could and couldn't talk about.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So you, tell me, you want to talk about your job before you got to avenues?
Sure.
Keep it surface.
Okay. So, before Avenues, I was a dancer.
Right.
And, let's go here. Before drugs and alcohol, every teenage girl has these thoughts where, that's a line I'll never cross. That's something I will never do. And due to this addiction, your self-worth and your inhibitions, all that is
Those
gone.
lines are gone.
It's gone.
Right.
And so by the time I had come into Avenues, luckily I had been with David for almost 2 years at that point. But before David, that I identified as that person, and
Right.
I accepted the life that person deserved.
Right.
And now looking back, it's like a movie. Like that's not even that
Scares me to think about me back then.
It's scary, but at the same time, we don't ever shut the door on it. So it is a gentle reminder that how far down I have gotten and how far down I was, willing to go.
Right.
But at the same time, it's also a wonderful reminder of how far I've come.
Right.
And how much further I'm going to be able to go.
Right.
And how now I went from you know, no self-worth dancer to now I'm a Christian. And, you know, I'm 100%, without any shadow of a doubt, Jesus is everything.
Right.
And I live that to the T. I try to, you know, we are human. So like I said, we do fall short, but that person that scares me still, and it's supposed to, that version of you is supposed to scare you, but it's also just a reminder of that's not who you are. That's what this disease had gotten you to.
Right.
This is who you are. And that is just a mask. This is who we are.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's it gets me excited. My life before, so you know, I was married 20 years, 2 daughters. We had a beautiful home. We had a great life. All the trappings you want. Yeah, boats, this, big vacations, the whole bit, right?
Right.
And that just evaporated away slowly but surely. It took Katrina to finally put a period in it.
Right.
And after that, it was just a snowball rolling forward. And I did a lot of things in between that were pretty damn amazing. Even like I was a highly functioning alcoholic.
Right.
Nobody cared.
Right.
Right? Like show up for work, get up on stage, do your dance. I don't care. You making tips. It's all good.
Yeah. Right.
Same here. Just different dog and pony show.
Right.
Now it's, for me, like I'm excited to go forward, but I know I can't let this guy show up.
Right.
Like this guy's just got to sit in the background and go, not in the background, but this is like when I feel like I'm getting a little too big for my britches, as my mother would say. I open this book and just kind of go, yeah, man, not so much, right?
Yep.
But that fights us, I think, a little bit. Fights me a little bit.
Yeah.
I see that guy in the mirror sometimes.
Yeah.
Right? Keeps me humble.
It's absolutely can be very humbling.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what's life like out here?
Amazing.
Yeah,
We love
great.
it.
It's a great little neighborhood.
It's
How'd y'all end up out here, by the way?
So when we were looking for houses, we had started in Metairie, and it just, nothing was like, it just didn't feel right. You know, everybody's like, when you walk into the one you want, you'll know it. And we went through like 12 houses out there, and the prices were just way out of our price range for that, not the worth of what we wanted. So we started kind of opening up. Well, David had the idea, let's just look around the surrounding areas. And when we came here, they showed us 2 houses, and when we walked in this house, David and I looked at each other and we're like, this is it.
Right.
This is home. I can see this being our forever home. So
How much work did you have to do?
None. It
Really?
was move-in ready.
Oh,
Move-in
wow.
ready.
Where were y'all before?
Metairie, so right by Avenues.
Okay.
I literally was like 4 blocks from Avenues.
So you're working, I'm backstory in just a minute here because you dropped in Avenues. So you're doing rehab work, you're doing a tech, you're a tech?
Yep, behavioral tech.
Right.
Yep, I've been a behavioral tech. May 9th will be 2 years.
How'd you get that gig?
I had a friend come to stick with the Winners and was just saying, hey, they're hiring at Avenues. How much time do you have? And I was like, a year. And so she just recommended go in there, put in your application. I went up there. I was hired. I put in my 2 weeks notice at my other job, and I've been there ever since.
I did our friend Will on the podcast, and Will and I had a chat about, because he does sort of the same thing.
Yep.
And probably made for the same little company.
Yep.
And we were talking about, I asked him a question, how often do you see yourself?
Yeah.
Right?
100%.
Right.
100%.
Yeah. So, and what do you say? Like, how do you, so I know you want to just go explode on him. I would say, hey, let me just tell you, I was here, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. So daily I see a glimpse of myself and numerous patients. I have to remember that some of them are not ready to hear what I have to say. I'm more ears than mouth for that. But I do have certain ones that, you know, just kind of stick in here, and I try and give them any type of experience or knowledge that I have, and I make sure and tell them you can take this with a grain of salt, but I've been exactly where you're at, literally, and that this is possible. It's not only possible, it's probable if you just follow these few simple suggestions and take action and are willing to surrender your self-will. Yeah.
And we sit in a lot of meetings, and what I love about why I wanted to do this play with you, other than the stupid studio thing, because I jump around sometimes, and I know we would just have a little conversation, right? So I say this over and over again. Gosh, when you, I lost my train of thought there for a sec. Oh yes, I got it back. Backstories.
Mm-hmm.
I find sometimes when I sit in meetings and I everybody's consistently hear people's backstory, backstory. Like, it frustrated me because I want to hear the forward story.
Of course, the solution.
Right. So, do you need to tell the backstory to tell the forward story?
Not at all.
Right.
I don't feel you at all.
Does that make sense to you?
It makes complete sense. Not at all. I feel like there are circumstances. I feel like if it is, now, I am no one, but in my opinion, I feel like we're there, so obviously we're qualified, right? I'm here. Obviously, I'm qualified.
I got the tattoos.
I mean, you know what I mean? It takes one to know one.
Right.
Right. I feel like this is what I do. If I can give, if it is a certain type of thing where they need you to tell your backstory, then I will do so. And when I do it, I'll focus mainly 3 minutes max on that. And for the remainder 12 minutes or whatever the case is, it is going to be the solution and what that looks like now. That's going to be my focus. I'm not going to focus on the war stories and how I qualify, because obviously I qualify. I'm here.
Right.
Type of thing.
Yeah, it's and I think that the forward story is difficult because the backstory is what we know because we've lived it.
Right.
So we've got the bruises, we got the tattoos, we have all the things that come along with the backstory. It's seeing your way forward to that next click, which is, I gotta get a job, I gotta get a license, I gotta get a house, right?
Right.
Where before we would hide behind all that and use our drug of choice, which would help us disappear from those obligations.
Yeah, numb us.
It's coming to terms with the fact that I know I need to do all that, but what's on the other side is a beautiful thing.
Absolutely.
Right? And I think the more you're sincere and authentic with people, the more they realize they see you inside of them as well.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm that dude. I see it. Right?
Yeah, I 100% can relate to what that woman or man is saying.
Right.
100%. You're very. I feel like whoever's in the crowd will be much more likely to find something that is relatable than to find that nothing's relatable. If they just, as the old schoolers would say, take the cotton out of my mouth and take the cotton out of my ears and put it in my mouth.
Yes.
And just listen and just wait for something. I promise you, at least one thing will be like, wow, I've been there, or
The fun, the quieter I am, the more I learn.
100%.
Especially when it comes to my spirituality. The quieter I am, the more I hear God talking to me. In such sort of ways.
Yes.
Like, go out and go do this, right? There's somebody going to see it. Somebody's going to tap. Interesting. So, like, I had a lady call me from Florida, and this guy from Albany, New York. This one guy's in Colorado. Dude in Destin. Some guy who lives on the West Bank.
It's amazing.
And we were talking about this little thing I do, right? And I want to get my friend to draw it. So I was in my last go around, which was not it wasn't as bad as that entry, but it was pretty bad. I was people, places, and things.
Right.
But I was lonely.
Yeah.
And I got detached disconnected from my group in St. Bernard, and specifically my sponsor.
Yeah.
And I just thought I had it. I just started quiet drinking and managing it at night.
Yeah.
Of course, it didn't work out.
Right.
Ended up falling in a marina.
Exactly.
It was spectacular, though.
You mean literally?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And justified every moment of it, too.
Right.
And then in great fashion, I get out the water. I fell in the marina. For real.
Took me a moment to
Yeah.
realize you meant, no, you literally
No,
fell in a body of water.
I did. And of course, after saying I didn't need to be fished out, well, some guy fished me out, and then his
Right.
wife was screaming at me because I'm being belligerent, and her husband saved me, and she's screaming at me because he said, "Jeez," right?
Yeah.
So in that classic moment, the cops show up. Because I had agreed to go home, right? Staying with a friend. Look, I got the Uber. I gave the guy my keys. I'm out. I'm tapping out. I knew better than to try to drive because being drunk in the parking lot's one thing. Getting a DUI is another.
Yes.
Right? And so I was not under arrest at that moment yet. I was working toward it though. I was definitely heading down the wrong path. So I'm gonna take an Uber. I got it, and then I turned to get my things in the car. I don't know, however, and then next thing I know, I was in the water. And got fished out, and then so here's what happens, right? So now the cops show up because there's a guy in the water,
Right.
and they trying to help me out, and I'm getting more and more agitated. I'll take I'll leave. I told you I would just let me get my Uber. We don't know where you're going. Blah blah blah. So finally, I'm arguing with the guy. Well, you didn't breathalyze me. And now I'm drunk as a skunk, and I'm yelling to the cop,
Breathalyze me.
breathalyze me. That's a brilliant moment.
Yeah.
That's the moment when you realize it's time probably to go back to rehab.
Yeah.
Not my finest moment. But old timers say things, right? This girl, I was in Fontainebleau because, I couldn't get in Avenues and I couldn't get in NOLA Detox. They were full.
Right.
I called our friends at Avenues. We know some of the same folk, right?
Mm-hmm.
We work for some of those people.
Mm-hmm.
And I know, Opal's at NOLA Detox now.
Mm-hmm.
So I called Opal as well, and just they were full.
Yeah.
That's how serious the problem is.
It is.
So I ended up at Fontainebleau, which is a little rough,
Yeah.
but it was good.
Yeah.
It was about where Manny Cologne needed to end up.
Right.
I didn't need to go to some cushy place again. I needed to go brass tack it.
Yeah.
And this girl, interesting story. She would say if you relapse, you lose all this, but when you stay on a path, you gain all this.
Yeah.
And that hand gesture has just kind of stuck with me. And I find that when I get a little thready, I kind of think about that because although I'm living where I'm living, and it's a good ways to go back to where I was per se, right?
Yes.
It's better than the alternative,
Absolutely.
and I have to keep some sense of hope and faith that it's gonna take me down a different path, right?
Right.
Something like this,
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys are such a great example of that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, listen, taking up a lot of your time. This has been a good moment, right?
It has. It's been fun.
I thought you lived a little further away, and I was like, oh no, it's close. I had time to sit and go get a
Nice.
bottle of water.
Perfect.
So Erin, thanks.
Absolutely.
You're a great
Anytime.
friend. David's going to be a cameo in our little podcast.
Yeah,
He'll leave
yeah.
him in, I think, right?
Yeah, I think
You
so.
photobomb the place.
100%.
Good luck.
100%. Thank you so
Good
much.
luck. And I'll see you at the next meeting.
Sounds good.
Okay.
All right.
We'll just stab that.